All right, welcome to another Owatonna Wrestling Weekly Podcast. I'm Coach Derek Johnson here with Coach and Freestyle and Greco Director Gabe Hovden. And before we get started, I'm going to, as always, thank our podcast sponsor for the week. That'd be Flemke Agency, Mr. Ben Flemke and his staff. They have a brand new, bright, shiny location downtown right across from Morehouse Park. But as always, the same great service as they have about a dozen carriers. And they do the shopping for you, whether it's home, auto, life insurance, I believe still, and business, of course, commercial insurance. So they do a great job. I know a lot of my clients trust them, and you should too. So thank you to the Flemke Insurance Agency for all you do for the OWA.
Well, let's get started.
Yeah. So, last week up at Mounds View last Thursday, number 1 ranked Mounds View.
Yep.
And just absolute hammers. They're ranked at basically every single weight, and we aren't. But also, we were down. We had 3 of our starters out with illness. They weren't even in school last week. And then also sitting Trey Hiatt with knee issues, getting him ready for sections. And then Jayden Jirele with kind of some headache, maybe concussion type of stuff. So he was sitting as well.
So 5 wrestlers out.
5 of our better starters out. And, so the matches, so we got blanked 66-0. However, had some bright spots. So like Kaden Lindquist, number 9 ranked. They moved him down even though he hadn't lost
to anybody yet.
Yeah, I know. It's just the rankings are based on Metro teams, wrestling Metro teams. So he was number 9 ranked going against number 6 ranked Owen LaRose, a sophomore. And he had a tough 4-3 loss, Kaden did, and was getting stall calls at the end of the match. So, I mean, another 20 seconds, and he either gets another stall point to tie it up or gets the takedown because he was just pressing and pressing and pressing. Yeah. So nothing to feel bad about there whatsoever. And then Grant Lauer, heavyweight, so bookended, lost a close match 1-0 to number 6 ranked Gavin Maxey. So Lauer, we've been talking about, is peaking at the right time as well.
Yep.
Just had him on last week for that very reason, Captain Grant Lauer. So showed up really well. And like I said, and I meant to write down the JV score. So, yeah, they're a loaded team. They're in the Metro, so I'll just say not all of them grew up in Mounds View or Arden Hills. So, yeah, one of those teams.
That just, guys just start showing up.
Yeah.
Okay.
But very strong, very stout. But our JV took it to them. So that was kind of a good setup.
Good setup, good preempt of what's coming.
Exactly.
So, Mounds View, how many seniors?
They are
they young or are they?
They're older.
They're older.
I would say of their starting 13, 10 or 11 of them are either juniors or seniors.
Okay.
So yeah.
Okay.
But they do have some good, sophomores in there too.
Yep.
But,
okay.
And then Friday, Saturday was girls varsity 2-day sections over in Redwood Falls. We had 3 placers. Well, and you were there. If you want to talk about.
I showed up on Saturday. I don't know how Friday went, but I mean, as you can tell, Friday went well because they were all still wrestling on Saturday.
Right.
So, Aliah Fischer, from what she took first, number 3 ranked in the state at 142. 3 wins. First period pins.
Yeah.
I mean, she dominated the tournament. The last match, she took the girl down, put her in a half, and the squeals that came out of that girl when she was squeezing her, she was out there for business. Didn't want to be on that mat any longer.
Yeah.
Lucinda's match for 3rd and 4th place. That match, I think the ref. I mean, I'll say it. The reffing need to be better with the 2 refs. Both of them missed an illegal headlock that was held for
near fall.
I mean, it was an illegal headlock. It was you have to have an arm. And she's just squeezing the head and
which right away should be a stoppage, penalty point, no takedown, no near fall. Yeah.
And then Lucinda ended up taking the girl out, halfway taking her down, got out of bounds, and Lucinda got up. They came right back to the middle, and that girl just sat there on the mat. Not injury, no injury time, no nothing. And the coaches are sitting there saying, hey, let's wrestle. She's tired. Come on. She's stalling. She sat there so long that when she finally did come back, the ref tried putting Lucinda down.
He just forgot.
He forgot what was going on with the match.
Sure.
That's how long she sat there. So she ended up losing, which I think she should have won that, and then she would have got a true second. But, I mean, for her, I think it's her second year wrestling.
Third year
wrestling.
But the steps she's taken in 3 years is insane.
Yes. And she wrestles this summer. Watch out next year. I know she's not going to be the tallest girl around, so I think she might sit down at that weight for quite a while, looking at mom and dad, unless she's got somebody else, grandpa, grandma's genes, and they're a little taller.
Yeah, I mean, maybe some muscle, kind of make some room for Kayla Pastica at 100 would be nice.
Yeah, would
they
be
can
nice.
both compete.
Both move up one weight.
Yeah, right.
And then McKayla Selle, unbelievable. She had the largest bracket in the tournament, and her only losses were to the same girl.
Yeah. And McKayla, first year wrestler, came with a jiu-jitsu background where it's go to your back. Oh, yeah. It's
and now she's learning.
Counterintuitive.
Yeah, now it's like you got to stay off your back. And the steps she's taken and the matches and all next year, watch out.
She took fourth out of a bracket of 23.
Yes.
So you think about sections is usually like eight. Yeah.
Maybe 9, 10.
Right.
And 23.
Wow.
So she did very well. And then Isabelle, just rough day. Wasn't her day.
Right.
I don't know how else to say it. She just
not her senior year.
Nope.
She has plenty of time to stew about it and work on things and get stronger. And
yeah. And I don't know what to say. She just it wasn't her day.
It's rough, when that happens. Yeah. Yeah. So she'll bounce back though. She's a tenacious competitor.
Yeah. She'll be back. And I know she's got some big plans this summer for wrestling. So
Sure. Well, and then Saturday, Owatonna, we hosted, as I call it in our shiny new tax levy, we hosted Big 9 JV conference tournament. And for the first time in, I believe, 5 years, we took first place. And it's like, Big 9 JV. Well, no, it also, we left 4 weights open due to injury. And some of our better wrestlers are the girls that were over at girls sections.
Yep.
So with that in mind, we performed really well. All of our wrestlers placed in the top 7. And, it's the Big 9 conference. Well, a lot of teams had multiples. So a lot of the brackets were pushing 16 kids.
Oh.
So for everybody to place in the top 8, or top 7 technically, really good. And for 11 of us to place in the top 3 out of the 16 weights that we had that day, we added some little weights down below. We looked sharp. We had a couple of middle schoolers fill in some spots. The championship, those that took first, starting at 95 pounds, Miles Ozzie, 8th grader, took first and very tight. I don't think he's ever had a 1-0 match.
Really?
Is how he won.
Okay.
Yeah, an escape with like 3 seconds left in the match.
Really? Okay, good for him.
Yep, and then Reeve Franco at 100 pounds won his bracket.
And 7th grader.
Yep, 7th. No, 8th as well.
Is he an 8th? Okay,
okay,
yep. 8th grader.
Yep, 8th grader as well. And then Charlie Sikora and Logan Risser, we're calling them both first place at 172. They were forced to wrestle
they
the
were?
last round. Yeah,
okay.
And they both did extremely well. Kayla Pastica took 2nd place at 85 pounds. She had a great day, so just 1 loss for her. Jacob Ricks at 114 pounds. He took 2nd place, and good for him. He's such a sponge and works so hard every single day, and to see it click a little bit for him in that way after being kind of frustrated the last couple of weeks leading up to it. I mean, just awesome. He beat a legitimately good kid in the semis, stuck him in like 25 seconds.
Oh.
Yeah, hit a great single, kept the arm, so it turned into more of like a Kelly series, and then turned that into a butcher straight to his back. So that was awesome. And then Logan Petrowski at 152, sophomore, took 2nd. And he was we were doing wrestle-offs this week. I believe he lost a close one to Nathan Gronley, but then Nathan Gronley was out on Saturday. Logan stepped in and took second, was a finalist at 152.
Good.
And then Kaden Keller lost a heartbreaker at the wire at heavyweight, so he took second, but other than that, looked really sharp coming back from knee issues. And then in the third place matches, Justin Gronley, senior, bumped up to 133, just on a whim, wanted to do that and took third. And actually got caught. So he had 6 matches on the day.
Oh.
He went 5-1. He got caught first round. Then his bracket was big enough to where he won every other match after 5 straight matches to take third. And then 8th grader Will Frantessel at 145 took third. Looked really good and almost won his semis match. Finn Buckley at 215, 8th grader. 215-pound 8th grader. Also looked really good and was pinning his kid in the semis and turned around and got pinned. Next period, yeah. Kid was just bigger, and Finn underneath him fought 2 or 3 power halves in a row, and eventually that kid just grinded him out. So, and then Alex Neitzel took 5th at 215. Wyatt Frantessel, older brother of Will, took 6th at 160. Ryan Feltz, off of like 2 days of practice in the whole season, took 6th at 172. I think he went 2-2. And then Chase Grunwald took 7th at 160, kind of bumping up a weight. Chase is more of like a 45, 52 pounder.
Okay.
And, we needed him there at 60, and he went for it. So
good.
And then this week,
the
team sections,
the big week coming up.
Yeah. So Owatonna. We lost to Albert Lea and Northfield, but we beat Faribault, we beat Mayo. So we grabbed the 3 seed. Northfield's going to be hosting that side of the bracket on Thursday night. First round, we're going to have Rochester Century. Things go as planned. We'll then have Northfield at about 7:15, 7:30. And
if things go as planned, then we'll be at the Civic Center at 2.
Exactly. Civic Center at 2 on Saturday, because honestly, we feel good about this draw. We wanted that rematch against Northfield. We want to get to Mayo Civic Center and get that experience. I know the kids are looking forward to that. And, we're hungry. We should have won the Northfield meet. Like it just, of the 50-50 matches, we lost every single one of them. And that's just not the way it goes. Yeah. So, and then, outside of that, and then we'll talk in future weeks. But what do we got going on this week for Min USA?
We got the middle school practice starting at up here at the high school. The little kids are still in there. Middle school's practice is Monday, Tuesday, Thursday from 7 to 8:15-ish. Just keep going. We have, depending on each middle school kid's age, if they're a cadet, they don't have to go to the qualifier. I suggest they do, because they haven't competed for a while in a match.
Sure.
So I suggest that they go. We got Shakopee is one close one. I think that's this Sunday. And then we got the Owatonna one on March 10th.
March 10th, yep.
So one of them, too, if you're a 14 and under, 12 and under, you had to have qualified as a 12 and under to get to regionals. 14 and under can just go to regionals because everybody was at junior high.
Sure, yeah.
So I know we have from our junior high club, or our middle school, middle school club, Mason Sorenson has qualified too, because he's in 12 and under still.
Yep, he's a 6th grader.
So he's already qualified to go to region, so he has to. I mean, he's already got enough points from our Owatonna tournament.
Sure.
He took first there. So, but all the other kids that are in 14 and under have to qualify and place in top 4, either at Shakopee or at Owatonna.
Gotcha.
And if you don't place in top 4, the following weekend after our tournament is the state folk style tournament.
Okay.
Gotcha. So I think I got it all set right.
Yeah, it's a lot of math.
It's with the new way USA is going, with certain ages have to score so many points just to get to regionals, and then you have to place at regions to go to state. So, and then Freestyle Greco, the sign up is out. It is out on the Facebook page. It is out in the World Wide Web.
OwatonnaWrestling.com.
Yep. We start practice. I completely blanked it. I got it in my bag down in the wrestling room. I want to say March 18th.
Okay. So
the week before spring break is what we're scheduled to.
Okay.
But we're still trying to figure out with the school if we're going to be able to get in here during spring break.
Gotcha. Okay.
Because if there's no janitors here, we can't get into school. I don't have the access codes and and all the badges and everything to get in here to get into the room. But registration's opened. It's open. It's an open club. I know I talked to Medford. I know there's some Blooming Prairie kids coming.
Oh, okay.
I actually had a couple of youth coaches from Dover Iota ask if our club was open. I said, yeah, it is. And
now, why would Dover Iota ask us?
Well, I got a brother over there that's
shout
looking,
out to Adam
that's looking to get his son over to learn, just to progress more. I mean, he's still new wrestling, and another coach from Dover in the youth. I used to wrestle back in the day from Austin, Tracy Smith. I talked with him, and so he's like, well, if they're coming over, we share rides. I'm like, it's open. So Owatonna Wrestlers, it is free.
Okay.
Out of Owatonna School District, it's $50 for I think it's a 10 weeks, 2 practices a week. This year I am going to suggest that we do go to the freestyle tournaments.
Yeah.
If we're going to practice the freestyle wrestling, I want you at the tournaments. Tournaments are ran smoothly. They keep it at about 4-man brackets. Mm-hmm. And little kids go first, and then like at 9 o'clock, the older kids weigh in and they wrestle at 10. And then, it's sectioned off. So it's not you show up at 7 o'clock in the morning anymore, and then you sit and wait until noon, and then you get your first match. It's not like that anymore. It's in and out. Get your wrestling in, and you get out.
Good. Glad they use common sense now.
Yes.
In that type of
there's
facilitating.
On a Saturday tournament, there's no more 22-man brackets where you're hammering it out all day long.
Yeah.
So
that's good mat time.
Yep,
yeah.
In mat time, and I am in the works of also there is going to be some incentive for kids that make it to practices and also go and compete.
Nice. Not just a crisp high five.
Nope. Well, they'll get that every time.
They'll get that. Yeah.
They'll get that every time. But depending on numbers and what I can facilitate as an kind of like an award. If I only have 6 of them, it's going to be one heck of an award.
Right.
It's going to be a nice something.
Yeah. The budget is a flat number.
Yep.
So,
I got one number to work with. So but I mean, I'll be honest. If I have to, we'll figure out. If I have 30 kids that make it to state,
we'll accommodate.
I'll make sure that it is well worth your time.
Sure.
So, but yeah, that's what's going on in the USA wrestling world.
Nice.
For Owatonna.
Well, we will be. Oh, and so we just had the Friday Night Rumble. Yes. I'll say for youth this past Friday, we had Medford in town, and that was amazing. In that, I think they said 120 wrestlers.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, it was a packed house at the middle school. Ran smoothly. Thank you to Coach Spindler. Thank you to Coach Ewell, Coach Sorenson, Coach Partridge, Barishka, all of them, because to be able to bracket on the spot like that, like a quick weigh-in bracket, and we were still out of there by 7:30. It was just incredible.
And we had a hiccup with the scale.
Yeah, right. And they had to get out an old school scale and everything. But yeah, that was really great to see. And of course, it's a great opportunity if you have people that for next season. It's a great opportunity to do these Friday Night Rumbles if they're not tournament ready, if they feel nervous about that, if you feel nervous about that. It's a great opportunity for some of these younger kids or just inexperienced kids that, just want to wrestle. And we see it. We see the evolution. The first Friday Night Rumble, there's a few kids that just wouldn't come out on the mat. Then the second one, it was we'll play, maybe a quick game. Jack Sorenson did a good job facilitating these shy kids. And then, the final Rumble, every single kid wrestled, had a good time. I didn't see many tears or anything like that.
No.
So,
and then the way they're running around, it's whoa, that's a lot of kids.
Yeah. So
they're all having fun.
It was a cool atmosphere. Yep. So thank you to all those coaches and all those parents and wrestlers. So, well, and we'll be right back with we have a few guests tonight. So. All right, welcome back to the Owatonna Wrestling Weekly Podcast. Coach Hovden and I are back, and we are with someone. I'm gonna call you this in a very positive way. Lucinda Ornelas. She wanted a nickname, and she looks like an absolute demon out on the mat, and very like intimidating, kind of that Wednesday Addams vibe of just like, I'm going to just rip your face off, kind of like the face ripper Isabelle Townley. And so I'm going with Lucifer because, I mean, with a name like Lucinda, it just works. I don't know.
Yeah, I guess so.
You giving in? Is that your name now?
Yeah.
Lucifer? All right. Nice. Well, you had a big Saturday, well, Friday and Saturday, going 4-2. Mm-hmm. And what place did you take at girls sections? Fourth. That's amazing. How many did you have in your bracket?
12. 12? Yeah, 12.
Okay. All right. And you've been wrestling for 22 years.
I wish.
How long have you been wrestling?
3 years.
3 years. So you take fourth at sections with only wrestling 3 years. That is and on top of that, I hear that you were angry about taking fourth and you wanted to place higher and go to state.
Well, it wasn't that. It was more I knew I should have won that last match, that I did everything right and I should have won.
We did talk about it on before you came in about kind of
what happened.
Yeah, the exterior factors.
But I was still happy that I even placed.
For sure.
But I was just upset that I could have gotten even better.
Yeah.
So.
Yep.
Well, it just makes you hungrier for next year, right?
Mm-hmm. We'll just put in the work this summer and there won't be nobody holding you back next year.
Yeah.
Yeah. So how do you feel in general, minus, taking fourth, which sounds like a kind of a disappointment for you, even though I would just be like, that's amazing. Holy crap. After 3 years. How'd the season go for you? How do you feel about, start to finish?
In the beginning, it was hard. I wasn't doing very well. But then I think once I got more into the high school element and once I started wrestling girls, I think it was a lot easier and better because of the weight difference.
I was about to say, you're a light, you're about 104-ish, and then you're wrestling 107-pound boys.
And then
adding their growth allowance.
Yeah.
So you're kind of undersized. And then, as soon as, what was the first one? Probably the Simley tournament when you wrestled 100 pounds?
I think so, yeah. Yeah, that sounds
right.
right.
That felt a little bit different, didn't it? Like wrestling girls your actual size.
It was weird just being able to throw them around pretty much.
Yeah, so I was just going to ask that. Do you feel stronger when you actually get to wrestle somebody your own size?
Yeah.
Okay.
100%.
100%.
Well, yeah, because a lot of what we were going over, so she's extremely curious, always working on her craft. Both the ladies we're having on here today are ones that want to stay after, work on stuff, and just how do I get better? They what we call lean into their weaknesses, meaning like shine a light on it. Let's figure it out. Let's not just rest on where we're good. Let's work on areas that need improvement. And you kept asking me all these questions that I was just kind of chalking up to, you're wrestling bigger guys. Like, sorry, that's just kind of sometimes you get into just survival mode and you can't wrestle exactly how you want to just because of the size difference. So, yeah. But no, what would you say, have you had like a favorite match this year?
I don't think so. Actually, I think it was one of the ones at the sections. It was when I went into overtime with I don't remember her. It was like Rezak was her last name.
Rezak, yeah.
Yeah. And I think I was just like, not only was because it was harder, it's because it was my first time going to overtime, and it was just a really, really stressful match.
That's your favorite.
Yeah.
Intense and stressful adjectives. Yeah. Awesome. Well, if someone didn't know it, this is a listening medium that we're on right now, but also if someone hasn't seen you wrestle, what would you say, like, what do you do on your feet to get takedowns?
More singles. I try to, for the most part.
Okay.
Or snaps and then go behinds.
There you go. Snap and go behind. How about on top? How are we turning people?
My rebar.
Your rebar? Yeah, and you just run the crap out of it. It gets tighter as you run it. Mm-hmm. Yeah. You make your opponents purple in the face. So that's pretty fun. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
What's the favorite move to get out of the bottom? I mean, what's your go-to to get out? Is it just go? Or
I try doing switches, but it's a little harder, but that's probably my favorite is to switch.
Okay.
Yeah, you said you had a good one Saturday. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Nice. Well, and something that I would say, like, your brand is just being tenacious, like, constantly. Like, you're Lucifer. You're a demon that just keeps going at 'em
forward
no matter what. So, no, that's really fun. So what got you into wrestling? You started in 6th grade.
I grew up with uncles like my whole life and with older guy cousins, and I'd always wrestle them, and I'd always beat them, and I'd always wrestle around with my uncles and stuff. And one day my mom was like, because I wanted to go into boxing, and my mom's like, well, I'd rather you go to wrestling. I'm like, what is wrestling? I thought it was just like WWE wrestling.
Oh, and so you're really disappointed when you got
A
in?
little
Couldn't
bit.
go off the top turnbuckle?
come off the top of the bleachers.
Right.
Yeah.
When do I get the chair?
Yeah,
When can I use the
where's
chair?
the chair coming in?
Yeah. Okay, so you went in. What did you first think then when you were going through 6th grade wrestling practice and
I
stuff?
was like, what is this? This is like really technical, and this is not what I grew up with.
Right. Yeah, there's more to it. Gotcha. What would you say your favorite part about the sport is then?
I think like how intimidating of a sport it is. Like how like it's not like any other sport, and it's like a lot harder like mentally and physically than a lot of people would think. And it's just like it's cool to say like, oh, I'm a wrestler.
Yeah.
So you like that intensity.
Yeah.
What do you plan on doing in the future after you graduate high school?
Police officer.
Okay. I was wondering which way you were going.
Tackling perps.
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay.
Gotcha.
Good. Good.
No, I think that's very evident in how you are as far as you clearly love the grind of wrestling and everything like that. So what's your plans going forward here this spring, summer, fall, all that?
Going to the gym a lot, lifting. I would like to get up and go up more in weight, like, because it was harder cutting weight a little bit, because it was more muscle than it was actual like body fat or like water weight. So it'd be easy. It'd be better to go up to 106. Mm-hmm. So I'd like to put on some muscle over the summer.
So lift weights and take the weight you want rather than cut weight to get to the weight you need to be at. Mm-hmm. Yep.
There we go.
Yep.
Sounds familiar. I like that. Nice. Okay, so besides tormenting people on the mat, what do you like to do in your spare time?
I don't know.
You don't know?
No, I usually just hang out at home when it's not wrestling season. And then other than that, I wrestle. So.
Well, I can say this. When you were in Mounds View, she was in my practice room just hanging out. Just hanging out in the wrestling room. Just rolling around, still in there when I was coaching down here the other night. So.
Jeepers, we're going to start charging you rent.
Yeah.
Just living out of here. That's good.
Get her a coach's card.
Yeah. Oh, my gosh. Well, that's awesome. Only a freshman. Plenty of time. What would you say long-term goals are for you in this sport?
Just sticking with it. Slowly get better by the year or the months.
Is there a particular tournament that rhymes with late that you would like to make it to next year?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, state?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, clearly. I think you're going to be on the podium before we know it, honestly. So
that's what I'm hoping. So.
I'm going to throw a little plug in here. I mean, Freestyle and Greco. Wouldn't be a bad decision for you to roll around with this summer.
We'll see.
Oh, it's good.
Let's see. Nice. Well, thank you so much, Lucinda. You are it's funny because you give it right back to the guys too in the wrestling room. So, all of how tall are you?
5 foot.
All of 5 foot. Just absolutely putting guys in their place. I love it.
Yeah.
So, thank you so much. You're just such a hard worker, a great example, and love having you. So,
Great job this year.
Thank you.
Good season.
Good deal. We'll be right back with another high performer from girls sections. All right. Welcome back to the Owatonna Wrestling Weekly Podcast. Coach Hovden and I, we are sitting down with another girls varsity section place winner, Miss McKayla Selle. Not Selle, guys. Guys, don't you dare. It's Selle. McKayla, first off, congratulations. 4th place and you've been wrestling for decades now.
Yeah.
I wish.
You took 4th in a bracket of 23, and you've been wrestling how long?
A few months.
Yeah, your first year. Yeah, so that's absolutely incredible. Congratulations, first off.
Thank you.
How was that experience? How was like the vibe, the atmosphere of girls sections?
It was interesting. Just the sheer amount of people that were there was really, really interesting. And being the biggest bracket there, I could see so many changes between like the smaller brackets and the bigger brackets and the weights and stuff. It was really, really great though. I loved it. I loved it so much.
Good. Yeah, this was the last year they're keeping. So you guys were combined. Section 1, which is us, was combined with Section 3 for a combined tournament for all AAA, AA, Single A. Next year, Section 1, we get our own tournament in Rochester with all the classes, but just Section 1 wrestlers. So honestly, though, the way the sport's growing, you're probably going to still have a
big bracket.
Yeah, a bracket of pushing 20 girls. So good job. Like that's crazy.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Thank
I
you.
mean, I remember the first day she walked into captain's practice and looking at me, and I'm like, oh, okay, she's never wrestled before, and she's telling me about her jiu-jitsu, and I'm like, well, we do the opposite of jiu-jitsu.
Yeah.
We don't want to go to our backs.
Right. Tell us a little bit about that, your background in MMA.
So I haven't done jiu-jitsu as long as I've done Muay Thai. I've done Muay Thai for around like 8-9 years now. And I've done jiu-jitsu for maybe like a few months, scattered lessons, whenever I can get them in. But yeah, it's just something that's really been big. Ever since my dad got into it, he kind of looked at me and went, you're the next step, so let's get you in there.
Yeah, your dad still fights, right?
Yep, he does still fight. He has a fight coming up in Canterbury in the 17th of this month. So,
17th of this month. All right. Awesome. Jeez.
Still old and getting at it.
Yeah. Well, and honestly, the Muay Thai explains if people walk in near the end of practice and we're having one of our lab days and everything, she brought in her hit mitts and she'll be doing crunches and she'll have the wrestlers smacking her abs as she's doing crunches. And the first couple of times it was happening, like everyone would just kind of stop and like, holy crap. Like, yeah, she's serious, guys.
Yeah, it's tough. That is straight grit.
So is there parts of wrestling that you like better than MMA?
Yeah. Because when I first started Muay Thai, you had to, do it for a few years before you could compete. And when you first told me that, when the first tournament that I went to came up, like after a week of being there, you're like, yeah, you're going to go compete. I was like so taken aback. I was like, yeah, I'm going to get to go in there already. Like, and I like the consistency of it. I like how intense it is. I like how many opportunities you're able to get in such a short amount of time that makes you so much better.
Opportunities for like competition?
Yeah, competition.
Yep. Sure. Yeah, well, and you took to it right away, and it helps clearly the grappling background that you have. You understand hips, you understand, anchoring yourself to wrists and ankles, and just like Lucinda, you're a sponge. You're always asking to stay after or to work extra with coaches, and like asking flat out. Like I just love the humility of, I don't understand this, or this position isn't working for me. What can I do? You're just doing that today with Coach Jay. I love that curiosity because you truly care about like the martial art of wrestling. And to me, that's what I geek out on as well. Like I love the martial art of it. I love the biomechanics of it and everything. So, you clearly are getting it. How, so like what would you say your favorite part of the season has been?
My favorite part of the season, just like tournament wise?
Or being with the team, what practices?
I love the tournaments we go to that are away. Just like, the bus ride and getting there and, weighing and hanging out with everyone. And then really being there and watching everyone just from like the start of it to the end of it, that whole day you're out there just kind of like cheering them on and being able to build that team bond. It's something that it's a little bit new to me because at my gym that I do Muay Thai at, everyone is in like their 20s or their 30s. Yeah. So having a team that I can really bond with in that way, that are closer to my age and you're just there with them constantly, it's really nice.
Oh, that's good.
And to watch and learn from them as well.
So the crazies didn't scare you away then? That's
No.
good. Good deal. Awesome. Yeah, it's been cool to see, especially if you guys have community members, if you've been to some of our home meets, like McKayla, I forget which one it was, if it was like the Faribault JM meet, one of those, and just seeing your face light up, you got a pin, you got to wear the cowboy hat and the pin hat. Like that type of community, I love seeing you kind of blossom in. So that's been great. Okay, you're on your feet. Match starts. How are you taking someone down?
So recently, I remember when I first started and I just kind of go for it. I didn't know what setting up was.
Sure.
But now I've been trying to set up more. Normally I try and lock up and I try to break away really quick. Lock up, break away, all that type of grip and rip stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And then I'll set up with a drag, and normally I'll fake out that drag and go for a double right away.
Yeah.
That's my go-to.
As they square up on you, you just...
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well, I'll say there was a couple of drags this weekend when I was watching you that you got right behind them and it was like, oh, and you even said it earlier that you just didn't know what to do from lack of experience. And you wouldn't. I mean, if you would have had that experience another 2 years, another year, there's no way you would have let it go. But your drag, you did it twice to the girl, and I was sitting there just going, take her down.
Yeah.
You're standing behind her with your hands locked. Just return her to the mat, and then you're just like, I didn't know what to do, and you let her go. But amazing watching you. I mean, just from that first day when you came into the captain's practice, and I was nervous because you're like, yeah, I've never wrestled before, and it was a bunch of boys. There was no girls in there, and I'm like, I can't sick you. I don't want to feed you to the wolves because these guys are going hard because of conditioning. But then all of a sudden you go, well, I roll at jiu-jitsu with 35-year-old men. And I'm like, oh. Okay, let's see what you got. Yeah. Because, I mean, like I say, in captain's practice, we don't go over technique. It's just to get the skin ready, get the bumps and bruises going, and go, get conditioning up. But, yeah, you jumped right in, and I was happy to see that, and I'm happy to see how far you made it this year. It was great. Great to watch.
Absolutely. Well, and then you get the takedown, which happens quite often. And then what are you doing on top?
I try to normally sometimes work for like thread the needle, but then I'll just normally go for my half Nelson. Like my go-to move.
That's a very good go-to.
And she's so good with it. What did I have to tell you to stop doing?
Every time I'd score my half Nelson, I'd literally like look up right at coach and just like wait for him to like give me some magical advice, and he just was like, you need to stop looking at me, don't look at me.
She'd
just
get
run
the half and wrist, have them about to tip over, and she'd look up.
Am I doing it right?
Yes. So I had to tell her, like, you are doing everything right, just run it, and sure enough, you just pin the crap out of people. So yeah, it's been cool to see your aggression, and inside stand-ups are working really well for you too. Like, it's hard to keep you down. So, it's exciting to think of where you're going to go. So you have one season under your belt. What would you say your goals are for like the future then? You're a sophomore, plenty of time. What are you looking to accomplish in this sport then?
State champion. Yep.
State champion.
Nice. I like it.
Sweet.
It's not out of reach. I'll tell you that.
Absolutely.
It's definitely not out of reach.
And I know what I need to do to put the work in, so I'm going to get there.
That's
a great attitude. I love
it.
Yeah,
you hear that, boys?
Yeah. Yeah, you hear that, everybody else?
Yeah. Love that. Love that. How about, so is MMA life outside of wrestling, or do you have any other hobbies, interests?
So normally when I'm able to train, I'll go train, but other hobbies and interests I love writing. Writing's a big passion of mine. I love writing, doing like just other like active things, like going on hikes, nature stuff, as much as I can get in.
All right, so you're talking to an English major. What kind of writing?
So I like poetry. I'm a poet.
What kind of poetry?
Really just anything. Like I collaborate things from like my life and just like philosophies I have and just kind of put it all together in my shit.
That's incredible.
Wow. I didn't see that coming.
Yeah. That's wow.
Do you let people see that stuff, or you keep it all to yourself?
I was actually hoping to open a literature club here in the next year.
I think that's still probably a possibility. Yeah, lit club. That's amazing. Well, that makes a lot of sense because her first emails to me, I thought were written by a parent. It was like perfectly, like the grammar immaculate, the spelling, all of it, and like fully fleshed out sentences and everything. And then I would reply to you, and I'd get one back fast enough to where I knew, oh, that's her legitimately emailing because she's in school right now. Yeah. And like, okay, that's impressive. Yeah. So clearly, you have a knack, but also like academics, I'm sure, are just right on point. So
right. Yeah. Very important to me.
Well, that's if you don't have the grades, you don't get to wrestle. Exactly. I can say that.
Exactly. Well, same thing that I was saying for Lucinda. It's always great to have you in the room. You can't stop smiling unless you put on that death face when you're about to mangle someone on the mat, which is awesome that you can get in that zone. But also you're just a great leader, a great example, just such a hard worker who enjoys the craft of getting better and progressing and everything like that. So we're happy to have you in the room.
Thank you.
And you had a great season, and it was a great job for your first year of wrestling.
Yeah.
Thank you
good
so
job.
much.
Awesome. Well, sounds good. We're going to be right back with one more guest who is a little out of high school. He's not a sophomore or anything like that. So, but yeah, a good blast from the past for me. So, we'll be right back. Thank you. All right. Welcome back to another Owatonna Wrestling Weekly podcast. We are back with our third guest of today. We saved the best for last because for me, it's a trip down memory lane. But Mr. Spencer Sorenson, how are you, sir?
I'm doing well.
2015 grad. Okay.
Gotcha.
One guy I used to coach from when he was a wee bit all the way through.
Yep.
All the way through.
Always a hammer.
So how you been?
Pretty good.
Good.
Yep.
And you're back in the area, right?
I am. Yep. I am back in the area. I work here in town. I work for the Ford Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram dealership as one of the salesmen. Live here in town, got an apartment here in town by myself. So.
All right.
Yep.
Gotcha.
All right.
Well, let's go through a little bit of your career, your competition career here. So, wrestled since diapers. I'm guessing you're a Sorenson after all.
Yep.
Yeah. So, and I remember you back when you were like third grade, being able to handle sixth graders because you were big, but also like technically sound and agile and everything.
Yep.
How about through? Did you have accolades before even high school?
Yeah. So youth wrestling started off growing up. My brother Tyler, who's a year older than me, him and I were basically traveling all over the place with our dad to wrestle all youth tournaments, like you guys were talking earlier, starting at 7:00 in the morning for weigh-ins, being there all the time. Wrestled Min USA State, freestyle Greco tournaments, won a couple of state youth tournaments, was a state champion, I think, a couple of times there. Wrestled for Team Minnesota in junior high. Won a national championship for freestyle folk style, excuse me. And then for freestyle and Greco, we traveled to Utah and wrestled out there for nationals as well and placed. So all around growing up, youth was kind of, pushing it to the limit to get as much mat time as possible. Mm-hmm. So.
Yep. So when you were in youth, I mean, I have in my head what your favorite move was. What was your favorite move to do, say, youth, junior high, then high school? What was your favorite moves?
Youth, I mean, I liked the headlock. It was a headlock that I liked. But as I got older, it was, pounded into me that the headlock doesn't work if you know how to stop it. So a lot more of it became a underhook, usually with my right arm, with head pressure and either, tying up and going for a hip toss, just kind of feeling the weight of your opponent, feeling their hips. And if that wasn't, a toss, going from an underhook to a cross ankle pick with head pressure, to a fireman's, to a double, throughout growing up, that's kind of where I was at.
Okay. So I know you didn't just wrestle. I have this, the thing in my head was football. When I just say football and Spencer, what I see you is at the state tournament watching it on TV after a fumble. you bear crawling after a ball. For some reason, that's the only thing that I can process with you is football. How was your football career?
As a sophomore, we got second at state. That was a successful season. We just lost one game, and that was in the state finals. As a junior, we ended up winning state for football. And that was kind of an experience for me because we wrestled until the end of November, or played football until the end of November. And then our first tournament, I was out, cutting weight because I cut from 330 to 287 for my junior year. And my first tournament that I ended up wrestling in was the Rumble on the Red. And that's a pretty big individual tournament. And ended up kind of coming away on top of that tournament and kind of started my season that way. So.
Wow.
Yeah, because I'm just watching you go after that. That's all I can process in my head because I seen that on TV. I was watching the game on TV, and that's all they talked about was on Channel 9 or whatever Channel 8, whatever it was. Oh, Spencer, look at this guy going after the ball. I was like, wow.
Yeah. Well, yeah, because you could move too. I mean, you were all of 300, but like super quick and agile. I remember you were one of the posters for football. And you're like parting the seat. You had one arm on each offensive lineman as you're cutting through the line. And it's like, yeah, that makes a lot of sense right there. Yeah. So how'd you do high school wrestling career?
So wrestling as a freshman, 8th grade is when I kind of started wrestling in high school. I got pulled up from junior high. Ended up, I didn't wrestle varsity much. I had one varsity tournament that I wrestled in, but other than that, I was behind Woody. And he kind of taught me how to wrestle more like a heavyweight, which was a learning experience because I wrestled like a lighter weight. And then freshman year, I think was probably one of more of my memorable years. We ended up making it to state. We lost to Hastings in the section finals, but we beat Albert Lea 2 times that year as a team, which was always back then kind of one of the big meets.
Still is.
And I think that year I pinned the state champion 3 times. I beat him at individual sections. I beat him at team duel twice, and then at that point, high school state wasn't seeded, and like it is now. And so it was kind of randomized brackets. He ended up getting one side of the bracket. I got a different side of the bracket. I ended up going, I believe, 0-2 my freshman year at state. And then my junior year or my sophomore year, I lost my first or second match, and then I wrestled back and beat the kid that beat me and got 3rd. And then my junior year, I lost my only match, which was in the state finals.
Okay. Jeez.
That's one heck of a career.
Yeah.
Papers.
So what are you doing now? I mean, you're working at Ford.
Yep. I spend time with my mom, my stepdad, spend time with, friends at work.
Yeah.
We watch a lot of UFC fights, watch a lot of football. That's kind of
just rolling with it.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
Have you ever? I know I mentioned it earlier, and I'm thinking, you get settled in back in town here, and I think in a couple of years, I always can use some help in the old freestyle Greco program. We always need some big guys because the way these kids are growing now.
Yeah.
Grant, prime example. Grant.
Right.
I will always have my doors open to alumni to come back and help coach. I will take any knowledge from any other coach to come into my room and help. So I want to put that offer out so it's out there.
Yeah.
DJ wrote me in with try to get me with 8-year contracts all the time.
I'll get you. So, oh, that's awesome. No, it's always. I remember when you were in high school and you were just so incredibly unique in how you moved and like just so hard to handle that Travis View was back in the room just because he's the only one that could really go with you in practice. And so for those of you who don't know, like he, like I said, legitimately crazy athlete, like just a strength you haven't felt. And for me, it was like, this is what defensive linemen at the college level feel like. You just lock up with you. So it takes a special kind of coach and practice partner to be able to handle that. So, yeah, that was impressive. I'll say that. Holy crap. So, well, any shout outs other than, who you're hanging out with and everything like that?
I think, it's really cool to see, guys that I wrestled with in high school, Tyler Vogt, head coach of the Albert Lea team. I believe my brother is coaching over in Mankato
West.
Mankato. I think that's cool to see, that, people that live, breathe, eat wrestling when they were growing up are now kind of doing the same thing, just with a different generation. I think that's really important. Being able to hear the girls that were on earlier and their, journey through wrestling. I think one of the most important things that I'm looking back on now is just getting the mat time, getting the experience of rolling around and going through the motions, whether it's just, doing double legs, doing single legs, and you're just, shooting the shots with your teammates or doing that type of thing, just getting as much mat time as you can to kind of get the feel for when you're doing the real deal, when you're actually in a match that counts, to kind of get the feel for every little angle that you need. So.
Yeah. Well, I know that since none of them are sitting here, and I'm not saying this about me, but so who was your favorite coach coming through from elementary? I mean, from your day one. He does
this every time. Just tries to.
No, I know it's not me. Deal from elementary. I mean, even if it was just a dad coach that was there all the way up until you were done. Who would you have to say?
I think a memory that I have would be when we were in Utah. Your dad, Larry. Okay. Probably through it all, whether it was the ups and downs of life, whether it was ups and downs of wrestling, your dad there was a moment where he made me write down my name on a piece of paper in a hotel room and said, I want you to sign this because I think that where you're going and what you're doing, it could mean something one day. And even though it may not mean something now, just the belief that he had in you that you could be something, I think that's really important to have when you're coaching. Yeah, because I was going to, like I said, I almost didn't make it tonight. And I was going to have him be in here, but I made it. But I know he was like, oh, Spencer's coming in. Let me know that you're coming. Like, I know, Dad. I know. So I know he's been pretty proud of you. So I know he talks a lot about you. So I just thought I'd better let you know that too. Appreciate it. So
awesome. Well, sounds good. Yeah, man, it is. Like I said, it's good to see you. Good to see you. Same old Spencer. I love seeing you smile. But and don't be a stranger. Honestly,
I mean, we got some big heavyweights. Rolling in this room.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, thank you much, sir. Appreciate you being on. And
yes, thank you.
Yeah, I look forward to seeing more of you. So
appreciate it.
Well, and thank you again to Flemke Agency, the OWA sponsor for this week and kind of month's podcast. Ben Flemke and his people, they do the right things the right way. And also thank you to the fact that he's got a great son, Max Flemke, that he lends us every season. So thank you, Flemke Agency.
And a reminder, this Thursday, team sections, 6 o'clock, Northfield.
Let's go embarrass Northfield on their home gym.
That'd be great.
All right. Well, thank you, and we'll talk to you next week.
See you next week.
Take care.